Today we're talking to the lovely Sarah. She is a social media strategist and she has a wonderful social media management agency in Texas. Sarah is wonderful at helping businesses find their social media voice and then amplify their voice across their social media channels. So she offers a range of services and she's a girl after my own heart because she also has a history in screenplay writing. She was an actor, she was a publisher, so she's taken what she's learned in that space and she's been able to apply it in her business, SLW Media. So I'm very excited to be talking to you today. Thank you for your time.
In my opinion, the influence, the opportunity to build that brand awareness is like nowhere else right now in marketing, right? So when you're thinking about staying top of mind, which is what brand awareness is, right? There is no better way to increase your brand awareness and stay top of mind in social media. It gives you the ability to have a two-way conversation with your audience that no other marketing avenue can do. And I've been in a lot of them, or I've been on one side of it or another, or publishing or whatnot. So it really gives you that ability. There's just no other way to cast your net that social media can do. The second piece is, and what I've seen firsthand in my business, especially as we've really honed in on the paid spend, Facebook and Instagram advertising, and really like getting to really know the pixel. I'm obsessed with the pixel and all the data and targeting and retargeting. The targeting abilities that social media provides to us are unheard of. I mean, how laser focused that we're able to get with my clients is insane. And I completely nerd out about it. You know, and a perfect example is right now with a lot of cities being shut down, you know, you have more eyes on media than ever before. And, you know, we basically, even clients that weren't running campaigns, we're running direct response campaigns for them right now and testing out ads. And, you know, when you test, you start off small, all of them are doing insane because you have so many eyes on them, right? So in my opinion, the targeting abilities, and especially because I focus on local business owners. So local businesses don't need to, you know, if you're in Austin, Texas, you don't need, you know, 1 million people in New York to know about you. You need people in Austin, Texas that are relevant, potential buyers to know about you and click to buy. And I think that's more challenging than, you know, a business that can cater to a national or international audience. So the targeting abilities, in my opinion, are one of the best things and most powerful things about social media. The third, again, in my experience, is the two-way conversation that it creates. So, you know, a lot of people think that you're just pushing out information. You know, a lot of people think that you have to post 7 times a week. But for my clients, a lot of times we post two times a week or 3 times a week. Because if you can really hone in and get a solid strategy around that, but you also have a formula to talk to your audience, to go in and foster that two-way conversation and say, you know, oh my gosh, it's your first, you know, maybe it's first day of kindergarten for so many. And you're speaking to them and saying, oh my gosh, what a lovely outfit. Oh my gosh, that picture is precious. You're a human being. You're speaking to them as a human being. You're building a relationship. You're staying top of mind. They're building trust with you. They're building loyalty. And then, hey, they may buy from you and they also may tell their friends, which we all know as a business is that magical space to be in, is that word of mouth, you know, friends telling other friends. So I would say the last piece is that two-way conversation, and that businesses need to remember that it's a two-way conversation. It's not just you pushing out information, it's listening and it's talking. A lot of the messaging right now has to be around compassion. That doesn't mean you can't sell. Selling is absolutely necessary right now. And I get sold all the time and I respect it because I get it. And people know that right now businesses are surviving, but there is a way to sell while being compassionate, being authentic, serving your audience, and remembering that. And if you're a local business, you know, really remembering that you're in a community, speaking to the community, have a balanced content plan to do that and support the community. I think is a really big piece of all this right now. Is your messaging needs to be a compassionate one, an authentic one, transparent one, and then also check off the boxes of communicate, be straightforward in what you're offering right now. You know, the minute this shutdown started happening in Austin, you know, I was on calls and we had to figure out a plan and all of these things. And we did a lot of things, but one of the the first simple things that we did is we went to all of our customers' pages, because we created this content notifying people what, services were offered. A lot of the showrooms that I support, aren't going to foot traffic, they're going to virtual services, etc. So we went to their Facebook pages and we pinned, after we created that content, posted it, we pinned those posts to the top of the page. So when you go there, that's what people see first. It's a simple action step to take, but it's things that we needed to do. So while balancing your messaging, also be very clear and to the point, and make sure that people know how, you're being very, very straightforward in your profiles at the top of your page, your messaging, what you're offering right now on your Google My Business page as well. Second piece is, everyone's telling business owners, get up on social media, get in front of them. Yes, it is absolutely an awesome time to do that. You have more eyes on media, like I said, but that doesn't mean, just as I tell business owners regularly, it's a cost-effective channel. That doesn't mean there's less consideration when you go into it. Think through your strategy and anchor it in your 1 or 2 key customer personas, just like all other marketing. Sometimes people think social media is different than all other marketing, but it should be rooted in your key customer avatar, your key customer personas. And I usually say there's a max of 2. If you can hone in on those 1 or 2, you will get the subsets, but really, really narrow it down on those first 2. And then really build your content strategy about their needs and their pain points right now, and really break it down. What are mothers dealing with right now? Well, God, their kids are home every minute, every day. Everyone's home in the house, including the dog. Maybe there's a new puppy. Speak to that, resonate, be a person, but spend the time to think through your key customer, their needs and pain points right now, and how you solve them effectively. And I usually say it's a balance of about 80% that brand awareness, messaging, building the relationship, humanizing the business, and then going into more of like those subtle call to actions at 20% of the time. But don't rush the strategy. And I always say, if you don't know what the strategy is, talk to someone, myself, others. There are so many people in our space that just want to give, that are doing like yourself, an opportunity to speak for 15 minutes and say, hey, like bounce some ideas off of me. Let's talk through that. Get an expert. It's worth it to get an expert to understand what your content strategy is. And then the third piece I would say right now is you have an opportunity to really optimize your spend, paid spend. All of my clients, even the ones that weren't doing it before, we have built out some direct response campaigns for them through Facebook and Instagram that are just doing amazingly because of the density right now. We're geofencing in, specific towns or neighborhoods within Austin, and the ads are doing amazingly because everybody's on media right now. So I think narrowing down, what your paid spend can be right now and doing some direct response in addition to that authentic messaging you're doing for brand awareness is really key. Having a balance of both of them is really, really important right now. Gosh, I love that. Oh gosh, I'll have to think about this. The first one that comes to mind is Sandra Bullock, just because I love her. I've loved her for 20 plus years. And this is why, because her balance, I know how she works on her films. I've watched enough and read about it enough. She's funny because she looks like she goes on set and she just crushes it, right? And she looks like she probably has a ton of fun on set and does a lot of improv, but she doesn't. She's by the book. She prepares, she memorizes. It's hard for her to work with improvisational actors because when they throw something to her, she almost has to react, but then she enjoys it because it keeps her stronger, right? But she is one that's by the book. And then she builds in the time to let herself get comfortable with when she's thrown off, or when she's working with Melissa McCarthy and she's never by the book and she doesn't know what she's saying, and but that's kind of how I work. Like I would say 80 to 90% of the time, I am so regimented, and it's the actor in me. I like I have all these notes here of what we may talk about when I'm doing my webinar. It's 5 pages. I have an upcoming webinar. I am so rehearsed and so memorized, but then I also get very comfortable with, and maybe that is the actor training in me, with throwing it to the wind whenever it comes up. Like whenever we turn this on, I was like, oh, okay, let's just roll with it, right? And then she's funny and witty, but she's very, very solid at what she does. So for those reasons, I can identify with her. So without thinking through it a lot, I think I'd go with her.
Thank you so much for your time, Sarah. It was such a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you. You're so wonderful. So thank you for having me.